Hello students, welcome to Learning Management System on Basics of Electrical Power System 20E11T, introduced for first semester Diploma in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, an initiative by Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. Under Unit 4, which deals with biomass power, fuel cell and hybrid PV systems. In session number 28, we are going to learn about biofuels and biogas. After completion of this session number 28, the student must be able to understand what are the different sources of biofuels, how the biofuels are classified, and what are the different biogas plants and their working. Before we proceed with the session number 28, let us have a recap on session number 27. That is, we learned about biogas, different types of how the biomass can be used to produce electricity in the previous session. So we have seen different methods of energy conversion. Either it may be burning, or either it may be what we call it as incineration, fermentation, what we have seen in the previous classes. And then also we have seen what are the factors to be considered for site selection, such as, say, for example, it should availability of water must be there. It is required in two different categories. Say one is to produce the steam, I require water. At the same time, if it is a gas I am going to produce, so in that gas and all the production, I will be using that with mixing with the cow dung, so that is water is required, and it should be nearer to the load center so that the transmission lines or the losses in the transmission lines can be reduced, and it should be away from what we can call the populated locality, so that whatever the output, or you can say pollution, that will cause, it should not get affected. And also we have seen that is plenty of biomass products should be available. So considering all these things, so what we had said, that is usually the biomass plants will be located near the farm products, where the farm products are available, or where the waste materials that are available are more. And also we have seen in the previous class the line diagram of a biomass power plant. What it contains, that is what we can say, we have divided that it into a number of what we can call it as components. The first one was the biomass, that is a fuel, that what we can say raw material, that what we are going to use. Okay, so the raw material is the biomass. The biomass may be anything, either it may be from the agriculture product or a forestry, or it may be from the industry, or it may be a sewage waste, or anything that may be there. Then it will be given to the combustion chamber, so where I will be producing the heat fumes. So these heat fumes, or you can call it as a heats, okay, the heat fumes are produced here. Okay, that heat fumes are provided to this steam boiler, where the water is, whatever the water, preheated water, whatever you have fed it here, that will be converted into steam. So this steam here, we will be converting it into steam here. This steam will be fed to the steam engine, so it produces, or it converts, what we can say, the steam energy into mechanical energy. So this mechanical energy again will be converted into electrical energy by using a generator, or an alternator in general, what we call it as. And then to make it more efficient, so what we have had, we will be having a steam condenser, where whatever the steam that is used in the boiler, okay, that is whatever the waste fuel is there, that after steam that has been produced, used by a steam turbine to convert it into mechanical energy, that steam will be again condensed, then the water will be recovered, and the same water will be used it for what we can call it as feeding it to the steamed boiler again, so that that can be used, reused, that is what we can call. At the same time, the exhaust gases are passed through the electrostatic precipitator, so that it can be made as clean as possible, and then the fumes will be left out to the air. This is what we have seen in the previous class. In the today's class, we try to learn about important parameters is extension of the previous. That is what we can say. We are going to learn about what are biofuels, and then we will see what you mean by a biogas plant. What are the main components of the biogas plants is we will try to learn that are what are the types of biogas plants, and then the uses of biogas. That's what we are going to see in this today's class. At the end of the class, we will have a small test to know whether you are able to understand the session or not. Multiple choice questions so that to check your understandability. So whenever we talk about a biomass, how we represent a biomass, it can be derived from any organic material. Already we have seen it in last two classes. So we defined it. Either it can be from the plants or either it can be animals or the waste. That is what we can call. That is what we call that as a biomass. And when I convert that into energy, I call that as a biomass energy. So now what is a biofuel then? It's a cost effective as well as an environmental pollution free, that is most important, pollution free alternative to the fossil fuels such as petrol or diesel, whatever we are using, because they are producing the global warming as well as the greenhouse effect. To reduce that effect, now we are going for an alternative fuels. One of the best alternative fuel is what we call it as biofuels. And then biogas is also obtained by what you can say digesting. Usually we call it as a fermentation, and then it can be used to, uh, it can be used to produce the gases such as a methane, what we call it as, which can be used for either as a, for heating purposes in household works and case of industries, as well as it can be used as a fuel for gas turbines to run the gas turbine, and coupled with an electrical generator can be used to generate electricity. We'll try to understand what I mean by the term biofuel. What we say biofuel, in a simple terms, I can say what are biofuels? Biofuels are the fuels which have been produced from the biomass. Usually maximum around 80 to 90 percentage it will be produced from the agriculture origin. So there are three different categories of biofuels that are there. Either it may be a bioethanol, biodiesel, and then biogas. Well, afterwards we'll see one by one what are the types and all. And what is a biofuel? Whenever we talk about a biofuel, it is energy derived from the carbon fixation. So these are produced from the living organisms. Biofuel, less carbon dioxide they emit, and as they emit less carbon dioxide, they are environmental friendly. Hence, they are blended with, now they are mixing these fuels with the fossil fuels such as diesel and all, so that the carbon dioxide emission can be reduced in the transport sector. So there's a wide variety of fuels that are depending upon the generation, they have been classified. One by one, we will try to understand. In the first generation, which we will be dealing with, okay, well, only this factor we will be covering. In the first generation, we were having three different types of biofuels, that is bioethanol, which will be produced from either a starch or a sugar or a cellulose, and biogas, which will be from the animal manure or from the food waste or from the crops or agriculture crops, whatever you can call it as. And then biodiesel, whatever the diesel that is mixed with the bioethanol, that will be mixed with this, blended with the diesel, so that they can be used for number of transport sectors and all. So these are the three important factors which we started with the first generation. Now in the second generation, the cellulosic biofuel is used. Biomethanol, that there we talked about bioethanol, now it is biomethanol. And then also we are going to have something called as a biohydrogen, which will be used in number of applications and all. And in the third generation, the maximum research is going on what we can call it as the microalgae, and by using that microalgae and all, so I can able to produce the biofuels which can be blended with the fossil fuels. And now in the fourth generation, we are in the fourth generation, we call them as a synthetic biofuels. Then these synthetic biofuels can be produced from algae. Okay, so the maximum synthetic biofuels are produced from algae. So as far as our syllabus is concerned, we are concentrating on the first generation of biofuels. We try to explain what are these three important fuels that are available. So the first one, what we can call it as ethanol. What is ethanol? It is produced by fermentation of sugar and the starch products. That's a bagasse or a starch product such as I shown over in the figure over here. That is corn and all that. Whatever the products or a waste product that will come out of that can be used to produce the ethanol gas. So usually what is the use of this ethanol gas? It is mixed with the petrol up to 10 percentage and higher, so that it can be used as a flexi fuel for the vehicles and all that, so that the carbon dioxide emission can be reduced. That is usually we call the term as environmental friendly or a pollution free environment we want to make. And at the same time, biodiesel is produced from vegetable oils, okay, and from the animal fat ಮತ್ತು vegetable oil ದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, biodiesel ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ biodiesel ಅನ್ನ we will blend with the diesel up to 7%, 4 to 7% ವರೆಗೆ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, blend ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಮಿಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. that can be used to reduce what you can say carbon dioxide emission. In the same manner, what is biogas? It is nothing but a methane gas. It can be usually it is produced by fermentation of this biomass, and it consisting of 50 to 55% of methane and 30 to 35% of carbon dioxide, and remaining will be the water gases such as either it may be H2 gas or N2 gas, nitrogen and all that. They can be used as a or you can call, these are the a small amount of these gases will be available. And then we will try to go for what are the different types of biogas plants, how this gas can be produced, what are the different methods are there. So before we go to them, try to understand this concept. What is a biogas? So biomass is converted into biogas by what process? We call that as a digestion or fermentation in the presence of microorganisms. Okay, so by using these microorganisms, the whatever the waste that they were collected, that will be converted into biogas. Biogas plants use biogas as a fuel to produce electricity. If I want to produce electricity, if I say it's a biogas plant or a biogas electrical plant, then it uses the primary source of energy is the biogas. Whatever the fermentation you have done, biomass, that will be converted into biogas that can be used for producing electricity. There are different types of biogas plants that are available. So two major types what we are going to have over here. One is called as a batch type and another one is called as a continuous type. In batch type, so you have to all the biomass will be filled in the corresponding plants, and then that will be left out for some time so that the gas can be produced, and then afterwards the gas will be used for remaining days until the gas is get exhausted. Once the gas exhausts, again it will be refilled. Okay, we'll discuss once again. And then in case of a continuous type, continuously the gas will be available. At the same time, continuously the corresponding what we can say the biomass will be fed to the plant. So there are two important types of continuous type. One is called as a fixed dome type. The dome is fixed over here, and then that is called as a Deenabandhu model. Okay, the name given it is Deenabandhu model. And another plant what we are widely used, that is called as floating drum type or KVIC type. Okay, so these have been a lot of research as well as they are done, and then they are using in case of our country, the maximum the biogas plants have been used in the villages to produce and make them villages self-sustained by using these two plants. So we'll have a one by one explanation on these plants. As far as your examination is concerned, only they have mentioned the types of biogas plants. Okay, in case of a batch type of plant, okay, the digester is filled with the biomass for 8 to 10 days, and then it starts producing. After 8 to 10 days of filling, it starts producing the gas, and this gas can be continuously used for, okay, that tentative dates days we are given were 40 to 50 days. It depending upon the what you can say plant and the capacity, these figures will change. And then after digestion is complete, once the digestion is complete, when the gas is present complete, the residue can be taken out, which can be used as a manure, and then again it will be filled with the biomass, so that again the same process can be used. So battery of digesters means, a battery means here in this sense, their number of digester systems are more, and then they are filled and then emptied one by one, so that the continuous supply of the gas can be maintained in a common gas holder. And the next type is what? Continuous type. In that continuous type, what we are going to have, there will be an inlet, what we have shown over here. Through that inlet, continuously the biomass will be fed, and through the outlet, after the gas production, it will be taken out. And this process is continuous. At the same time, the gas is collected continuously from that plants. So the supply of the gas is continuous, and the digester is fed with the biomass regularly. That is most important. The gas produced is stored in the gas holder, that is upper dome, whatever we have shown over here. And then whenever you require, you can open the valve of gas out and then use it for your purpose and then close it. So this gas will be stored in that. Okay. So there are two types what we have discussed in the types. That is, one is what we call it as fixed dome type, and another one is a floating type. Okay, first we'll try to learn about this fixed dome type. The name itself suggests the upper dome where the gas is collected is fixed. It is not floating. Okay, it is fixed. So you can see here through the inlet. Okay, through this inlet, you are going to feed the corresponding what we can say slurry and the cattle dung, or you can call, and the water is mixed, and then that will be fed into this chamber, and then it will be left out for producing the gas for some days. Okay, in case of fixed whole gas holder, the forms and the digester, what we are going to have, and the slurry is prepared in the mixing tank and fed it to the digester through the inlet pipe. Okay, and then the plant is left unused for 2 months, so that it can produce the gas. Decomposition can happen, or you can say usually we call it as a fermentation, and it is stirred continuously, and the gas is produced, which will be what you can say biogas is collected at the top of the dome. Okay, that will be stored in that. So when more and more gas is produced, the pressure inside the digester increases, and whatever the slurry that has been spent, it will be thrown out, or you can call it as displaced into the displacement tank. Okay, as the gas pressure increases, because of that pressure, that will be taken out and then fed into the outlet, which can be used as a manure for our agriculture fields and all. So this is also known as a Dina Bandhu model. The gas valve is opened, and then whenever you require the gas, that should be for heating purpose or for any other cooking purposes and all that. If you require the gas, depending upon your requirements, you will open the valve and then use it for your applications. And in case of floating drum type, what we have shown over here, so you will have a mixing tank here. This is the mixing tank. Okay, so in this mixing tank, the water and the cattle manure, all these things is, or cattle dung, whatever we can call it as, that will be mixed, and then it will be fed through this inlet pipe. Here it will be a partition valve is there, so you have got digester tank, we call it as, it is an inlet tank, and then this is an outlet pipe through which, after the gas pressure is moved, that will be what you can say pushed out and then collected, through which we are going to have. as compared to the fixed dome. Here it is a floating dome. So this dome is we have shown over here. The dome will be the initial position will be somewhere here, and as the collection of the gas increases, the dome will also float. And then by checking its the corresponding what we can say here, you can have the marking, and also you can check at how much level of gas that has been produced. Also, if you know the dimensions of this plant, so you can easily calculate how much cubic uh, cc of gas that has been collected, so that depending upon that you can utilize it for your application. Okay, we'll just see the working of this. So the plant is left unused when the biomass is fed, unused for the months. During this period, anaerobic decomposition of the slurry will take place, and then it produces the gas in the digester. The gas collects in this, whatever we have shown, gas holder, that's a steel material, and it is inverted over the slurry. The drum floats, and then gas gets, as the gas gets collected, and if the gas is taken out, and again it sinks. Okay, so you will be in a position to understand how much gas that has been collected, and depending upon that gas collection, you can able to have the input, and our input can be biomass input can be controlled over here. The plant, the gas collects in the steel drum, and then which can be inverted, and the drum floats, and the gas gets. Then what are the different types of applications over here? ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಬಯೋಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? So the biogas plant, whatever we have shown in this figure, we try to give a broader picture about this biogas. So this biogas can be used, as far as our case, it is used for the electricity production. Along with that, the biogas can be used for cooking purpose, and then local heating and all. And also we have seen, shown over in this figure, it can be used for the household applications. It can be used for the stable, where you are going to have a cattle and all that you are going to have. So for heating that, as well as for the other purposes. And in case of agriculture, greenhouse, okay, so where you want to maintain the temperature, or you can call it as at a required level, either you can be using it to increase the temperature as well as for the reducing that. Okay, so there you will be having this greenhouse effect, and also you are using it for local heating in case of nearby industries, which are agri related industries which have been used in nearby, that can be used, the heat whatever that has been left out after fume gases, you are used it for steam production, that can be used for this. So when you use it in so many of applications, automatically the efficiency of the plant can be increased. At the same time, and it is not a very useful material, so you are going to have the fermentation, whatever the slurry that is left out, that can be used as a fuel, and then it can be used in treatment plants and all that. So these are the different applications of biogas oil. And as far as whatever we have learned, we learned about biofuels. ನಾವೇನೇನು ಕಲ್ತೀವಿ, biofuels ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಹೇಗೆ ಅದು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದ, ಅಥವಾ ಏನೇನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವ, that is 3 different types we have seen. Ethanol, or you can call it as a biodiesel, what we have seen in this. And then also we have learned about the biogas plants, 2 different types of biogas plants as we have seen. Okay, that is a batch type and a continuous type. In continuous types, again we have got 2 important types. One is fixed dome type, and another one is a floating dome type, or usually we call it as a Deenabandhu model as well as KVIC model. And then as we want to conclude over here, so what we can say, because we are using all this as an alternative to the fossil fuels, which make us the waste disposal easier, and at the same time it reduces the greenhouse effect and generates a clean energy, and then that's why we are using such a type of energy over here. These are the books through by referring them we are made this content as well as the PPT, and some of the e-resources from where we have taken the pictures from. And before we end up the session, let us have whether you are able to understand the concepts of biofuel and biogas. Try to answer some of the simple questions. Okay. First question says biogas is also known as ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಬಯೋಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಗೆ biodiesel, biomethane, bioethanol or biobutanol. Is okay, it is known as biomethane. Biomethane is also known as what? Biogas. Okay. So now in the aerobic digestion of sewages is utilized in the production of ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಿಂಥೆಟಿಕ್ ಫ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲ biomass it is a biomass itself we are using it biomass itself for the uh, digestion and all so it is biofuels ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ so the answer is C biofuels and choose the incorrect statement incorrect ಯಾವ್ದದ ಇದ್ರ statement first one what it says we are encouraged to plant more trees so as to ensure clean environment. Yes, it is true. Okay. Gobar gas is produced when crops, vegetables, waste, etc. decompose in the absence of the oxygen. Yes, it is true. Fermentation ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. The main ingredient of the biogas is ethane and it gives lot of smoke and also produces lot of residual ash. It's a wrong statement. It doesn't produce any ash or a smoke out of it. Okay, there will be some fume gases will be there, but it doesn't produce. Biomass is a renewable source of energy. That is also true. The answer is C. Okay. Next, the bioethanol is subjected to rectification to remove. Rectification ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು filter out. ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ sugar ಅನ್ನ reduce ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ okay it doesn't have any sugar impurities yes it is used to what you can say rectify the impurities enzymes ಇರಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ yeast ಅನ್ನು ಇರಲ್ಲ okay so it is used to what you can say rectify the impurities okay what are the factors of the for the site selection of the biogas plant ಏನೇನ್ factors ಬರ್ತವೆ distance from the load center yes it is one of the factor availability of water is necessary for producing or steam and all as well as in case of biogas plants it is required for mixing it yes it is required and then cow dung it is a important constituent of your biomass so all the above is the correct answer where does the concept of fixed dome type developed ಎಲ್ಲಿ develop ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು okay so yes whether it is developed in India China Japan or Europe yes it is developed in India okay India is the pioneer in biofuel and biogas energies okay so what type of plant is a floating gas holder plant ಯಾವುದು continuous type batch type semi batch type none of the above so batch type ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇದ್ರೊಳಗ continuously ನಾವು ಹಾಕಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಏನು fuel ಅನ್ನ okay so there we are going to produce what you can say after completion of the fuel extraction we will empty the thing and then again we will fill with the biomass so floating point ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ floating gas holders ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತವೆ continuous type ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದ್ರಾಗ that is what the answer is continuous type when you burn a wood to generate heat in your home okay you are using a biomass energy true or false yes it is true because whenever we burn any of the products such as wood and all that they are having because of the energy that is will whatever the photosynthesis energy also energy that is available in them that will be converted into heat so it is a true methane gas can be used to create what commonly used fuel ಯಾವ fuel ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು methane gas ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಗ್ಯಾಸೋಲಿನ್ಗೋ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸೋ ಆಯಿಲು ಅಥವಾ ಕೋಲು yes methane is nothing but what we call it as a natural gas okay so the natural gas is the answer for it KVIC type of plant is an example of ether plant idu floating drum type fixed dome type semi batch type none of the above so KVIC ಒಳಗ ಯಾವ್ದು ಇರ್ತದ floating type drum ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ this is a floating type drum type. Fixed ಒಳಗ fixed drum ಇರ್ತದ. Semi batch type it's an example or a batch type of thing. So it is a floating drum type is the answer. Okay, so if you are not able to answer these questions properly, please go through once again the video and try to answer them and try to learn properly. So I wholeheartedly thank all the persons who have been mentioned here, those who have helped me in developing this content directly or indirectly. Thank you once again. Before we end up our session, if you have got any suggestions about the content, the tools, the format in which it has been presented to you, and also anything if you want to have clarifications, please write down to lms.dtek@gmail.com so that can be used and help us for developing the next content in a better and a more informative manner. Thank you for patient listening.